Hey, I feel like I should say it's week something, but it's not. He's here. Deacon was born like a chain, and it had a little loop, like a really tall, a small little, just like a silver to hold it onto the chain loop, and then a heart. And they hung it to the like the curtain in the delivery room. And I would, every time I had a contraction, my mom would actually make me open my eyes and really focus on that focal point, and obviously breathe through the pain. And then I would try to relax for the 30 seconds or a minute. It felt like 3 seconds before my next contraction started. My husband was feeding me ice chips, and I was so freaking hot. They were constantly changing my a towel over my head and on my neck, and they're wiping down my legs with cold water and my back, and I had ice in between my breasts. Like, I was so hot. So they did all of that for me. They were wonderful, and that's how I got through each of my contractions. So it was really good. But my husband was begging me to take something, so I finally agreed to getting some fentanyl. And what that did for me, it didn't take the pain away, but in between the contractions, I was able to kind of like just rest. Like, I was able to really get in a deep, almost like a sleep in between each of the contractions. The thing with the fentanyl is it only lasts 10 to 15 minutes. So it only lasted, like 5 contractions. So that part kind of was a bummer. But it was able to give me just enough rest to really just like push through the rest of it. So they gave me the fentanyl, and shortly after she checked me, and I was dilated to a 7, and I was like 90% effaced. And that's when she said that she couldn't believe that I'd gotten that far and that I wasn't going to be having an epidural, and I wasn't aware of it. I really had myself in a trance. Like, it's the best way to put it. So I mean, it was really, I don't know, I was really happy about that. At about 3:45, I told them that I needed to push. She came in and checked me and agreed that yeah, I could start pushing because I was fully dilated. And I was like I just had a little lip of cervix left. So she called my doctor, who was scheduled to do a C-section at the other hospital here in town at 4, but she had to literally like run over because I was pushing, and I was not gonna not push. Holy crap, that was not gonna happen. I'll tell you about that in a second. So she ran over and immediately got suited up, and she was there. She got there about 4:15, and that's when I was able to really start pushing because the doctor was there. So she got suited up, and immediately as he started to come down, his heart rate was like stopping, and it was going under 90. So with each contraction, I guess his heart rate was not even there, or was under 90. So either way though, it was too low. So it was like, we have to get this baby out as soon as possible. So I was pushing as hard as I could, and it wasn't getting better. They put me on oxygen, and they decided that they were going to have to do the vacuum in order to get him out fast enough. And they were only letting me push every other contraction because in order for his heart, for him to still get enough oxygen, because he wasn't getting like any. So those contractions are when you need to push and you can't, you're being told not to. It is the worst pain in the world. Oh my gosh, it was so bad. So bad. I was just like panting and learning. We used all the breathing techniques from our classes, and there's just this candle blow one, and it's like really quick, like breaths through, like using your cheeks just to really try to get your mind. the first time I was grabbing my mom and my husband's hands, and I was just squeezing them so hard because the pain was, oh, I don't mean to scare anybody, but pushing honestly feels so incredibly good. It is the best feeling ever, and you have all the energy in the world to do it, and it's wonderful. Oh, it's literally, it feels so good. And I know that sounds so weird, but it really feels good. But to be told you can't really hurts. So I don't want to freak anybody out or anything like that. And just as long as you know, there aren't any problems, you won't have a problem with that. So it wasn't, but I mean, I was able to get through it. So they got the vacuum, and let's see here. They got the vacuum, and within like 2 pushes he was out after all the pushing I'd already done. And that was at 4:33 that he was born. So I pushed for probably like 15, not even 15 minutes though. But the hard thing was I was only allowed to push every other contraction. So maybe 30, I really don't know. I don't know at all. So let's see here. When he came out, he had his cord wrapped around his neck and wrapped around his arm. So that's why they immediately, my husband was able to cut the cord, and they immediately took him over to, like, you know, the little baby bassinet thing. And there was a ton of like baby doctors in there because they were worried about him because, you know, it was just, his heart rate got so low. So they were checking him out. I, again, was just in like a complete fog. Like, I knew the people that were there. I knew what was going on, but I had myself, it was like I don't know the best way to explain it. I wasn't there. And that's more or less how I managed my pain. I just wasn't in my body, which sounds crazy, but it's what worked for me. And I could hear what was going on, and I could hear him crying, so I knew everything was, you know, okay. And he started to lose his like body heat a little bit, so his temperature was getting really low, so they had to check his blood sugar, and luckily enough it was okay. So they were able to just warm him up under the little light, and, you know, my husband was able to take him and hold on to him and walk around with him and warm him up. So he was okay after a little while. I heard his Apgar score was 8 or 9, so when I heard that I was like, okay, he's okay. I'm okay. And that all the while, you know, I was delivering the placenta and getting sewed up. I tore from the inside out and all the way up the front. So she was stitching me up, which is, that's when I was kind of starting to come to and really wake up and be aware of, you know, like, you know, just completely back to myself. And I just see this big fish hook, whoop, it's